I bought a Temu gaming setup for less than $400 that actually performs really well.
All right, so right here we have the Temu Gaming PC. I bought this PC a few months back for I think around like $350. So definitely on the cheaper, lower end side of gaming PCs. And this PC is from a company called ST Aubron, which is super popular on Temu, which is why I actually picked up this PC. And actually inside the box, there is an entire gaming setup. So we have the keyboard, we have the mouse, and even though it is from Temu, I could use it as the gaming setup. I'm not going to, just because these things are just so bad. It's literally like membrane gaming keyboards, and then the mouse is like super cheap, made out of plastic, super heavy mouse as well. Now inside of this $350 gaming PC, the PC does have an RX 580. The specs on this PC aren't too bad, but you're definitely not going to be pushing like a stable 120 FPS with this thing. So with the RX 580, we do have it paired with an Intel Core i7, which is pretty odd because all these Temu PCs usually have an AMD CPU, but this one has an Intel CPU. So, and I actually optimized this gaming PC a few weeks back because this PC without any optimizations wasn't the best. Like raw from the box, this thing was only pushing around like 80 FPS, but after the optimizations, this thing could run around like 110. So using this PC for the gaming setup that I'm gonna build, and after optimizing this thing, it's gonna be a lot better. Yeah, very solid PC for $350. Especially from Temu. Now for the monitor I got off Temu, this right here is a monitor from Sansui, and it only costs around like $80, so definitely a very cheap gaming monitor. This monitor is 180 Hertz. It has an IPS screen that is full HD. Now for only $80, this is definitely a very solid deal, but honestly for such a cheap price, we are really just gonna rely on the refresh rate on this monitor. Definitely do not expect too much for like the colors. Probably not that good. I mean, this thing is a $80 monitor, but most people do use this for like its higher refresh rate at a cheaper cost, not really caring about like the colors and stuff. And this monitor is actually from a brand I never heard of. Nonetheless, this thing is 24 inches. I don't think it's a curved monitor, but I'm pretty sure this monitor is like pretty slim. Like the bezels aren't too thick or anything, so definitely a pretty solid monitor. All right, let's take the screen out. So yeah, it is a 24 inch, so definitely not that big, but it is definitely a really light monitor since it is kind of like a cheaper build. Let me go ahead and actually build this thing first. And right here we should have the stand. Okay, there's actually a base as well. Right here is the base, and I think it should be pretty easy to actually assemble. Wait, that's literally all the pieces. Okay, yeah, this thing is pretty easy to assemble. The base of this monitor is definitely pretty short. I don't really think it's a big deal. So yeah, the neck and like this base just connects super easily. I'm actually not sure if you need to screw anything, but I think you don't. And I think just like that, you have this thing connected. I mean, unless I'm missing something, I might look in the instruction manuals. And then over here, we have the power cable for the monitor. All right, so I looked around the packaging. There's not really any screws, so I think this is just it. Honestly, pretty loose. I mean, this thing just came out just like that. So yeah, I mean, from Temu, this thing is definitely like pretty poorly built. Base and like this neck just fall apart so easily. Yeah, I literally pressed this thing with all my strength and it just comes right out. But let's go ahead and apply this base to the monitor itself. I did see OLED monitors on Temu as well, but I think they were like pretty expensive. More expensive than the OLEDs you would find on like Best Buy or Amazon. But yeah, this base just fell right again. Oh my God, bro. This thing's actually like really loose. I think I set this thing up, right? I think it's just like that. You guys can kind of see, I mean, this thing wobbles so easy. Like it's mostly from the base just because of how cheap it is. But the monitor itself wobbles like super easily. You guys can definitely tell why it was super cheap just because of this build, but I didn't expect it to be this bad. Okay, the base just completely fell apart once again. This is actually going to be a problem. Why does the base keep like falling apart? I think if I just don't touch it, it should be good to go. So I'm gonna go ahead and be careful with this monitor. Here it is, the 180 Hertz monitor from Temu. I'm pretty sure this thing only has 2 HDMIs and 1 display port. It also comes with an HDMI port, so definitely really good. But yeah, I really like this monitor until I actually figure out how the build was. Overall, just like really cheap. This thing moves way too much. Now for the keyboard on this setup, I honestly just went with like the cheapest option I could find on Temu, and I came across the 60% keyboard. It was relatively cheap. I think it was like $25, and it also has some really nice aesthetics to it, so it's not really like too bland, which was why I actually picked this thing up. You guys can kind of already see from the keycaps, there's a lot of design going into this keyboard, so definitely a really solid option for the setup. And it also is a 60%, so perfect for the setup. I literally do not like full-size keyboards, probably even TKO TKLs too. I'm not really a big fan of TKLs either. But here we have it, the gaming keyboard from Temu. Honestly, a pretty solid build, I'm not gonna lie. And then inside the box, we also have the cable for it. It's kind of like this little braided white cable. So it also comes with extra keycaps and like switches, I think. So right here we have the space bar, which on the bottom is like translucent, which I think the keyboard has like pudding keycaps. So the RGB will be like a lot brighter. So we have the space bar. We also have like the enter key. We have a keycap puller. We have another keycap puller, which is like a metal one. And then inside we also have 2 red switches, which is what the switches are on this keyboard. I don't know why they gave these 3 specific keycaps only. Since it actually came with extra switches, I'm not too sure if this keyboard is actually like hot swappable. If it is, that would be pretty good. You guys can go ahead and switch like the switches on this keyboard, since I'm pretty sure the red switches aren't like the best. Wait, there's actually more stuff inside the box. Hold up. Wait, so yeah, it also comes with like this full set of red keycaps, and some of them actually have like special design, so definitely pretty cool. This keyboard definitely has like a ton of aesthetics to it, which is what I really like about it. And a lot of other keyboards on Temu are just like super bland, but this one's definitely unique. Very, very nice looking and also pretty cheap. Yeah, I think the keycaps on this keyboard are just all pudding keycaps. Like I said, the RGB will be very bright on this keyboard, so definitely pretty good. Now, if we take a look at like the weight of this keyboard, it's semi-light. It is like a fully plastic build, so it's definitely not too sturdy. But there's actually like this little tab on like the bottom of the keyboard that you can switch between Mac and Windows. That's actually really cool because Mac uses like command keys and then Windows uses control keys, and you guys can basically just switch around with that with this keyboard. That's actually really, really cool. Does this keyboard actually have a software then? This keyboard might actually have a software. I gotta check that out. But yeah, this keyboard is the Womir WK61 mechanical gaming keyboard, and for $25, it's actually not looking too bad. Let me go ahead and do a quick sound test with this keyboard. This keyboard does have the red switches, so the sound for the switches should be like pretty smooth and creamy. So let's go ahead and take a look. Okay, yeah, this keyboard definitely has like a pretty like thick sound for its switches, but at the same time, it's really, really like nice and relaxing. It's not like too clicky with like the blue switches. It definitely sounds really, really nice. Definitely has like a really nice feel to it as well. It doesn't feel too cheap. Like the stabilizers and stuff definitely feel intact. This is actually one of the best keyboards I definitely tested on Temu. Very, very solid build to it. I'm not too sure how fast the actuation points are, but it's honestly probably not gonna be that fast just because this is a Temu gaming keyboard and because it's relatively cheap. Now, the mouse that I picked up from Temu was definitely one of the cheapest mouse you could buy there. And the mouse is the Logitech G203. I think this mouse was only around like 15 bucks, so very, very cheap. But at the same time, this is a very good mouse. Like, I'm pretty sure it has really fast switches, which is definitely what you guys want if you guys are buying a mouse. But the only downside is I don't think this mouse is wireless, which sucks because I freaking hate wired mouses. But right here is the mouse. Yeah, it's definitely very, very light. Like, first impressions, this thing is just super, super small. My hands aren't even considered big, and it just like completely shadows over this mouse. Like, it's completely covering the mouse, bro. Also, with this mouse, there's not really much like grip to it. The overall mouse is just like really, really smooth. So yeah, I mean, I suggest you guys to actually add like grip tapes for the mouse, especially on the sides, because the sides are definitely very, very smooth. And just from pressing the switches, it definitely feels pretty responsive and fast, but I don't really think it's too fast just because of its price. A $15 mouse, bro. This thing is definitely not going to be like the fastest mouse, but I'm pretty sure you guys aren't even going to see like a huge difference anyways. And then for this mouse, over here on its end is where the RGB actually starts. You guys can kind of see from the box, only this part has like RGB and the logo. The rest of the mouse doesn't have RGB, so it also does have 2 side buttons, so definitely pretty good. Yeah, not much to say about this mouse. It is $15. It should get the job done. It is from Logitech, so it should be pretty like trustworthy. But this mouse does go up to 8,000 DPI. It ranges from 200 all the way to 8,000. And then you guys can also use the Logitech like software to change things, add macros to it whatsoever. So at least this cheap mouse does have a software for it. So if you guys want to adjust it, you guys can go ahead and just get right to the software. And to finish the setup, I have this mouse pad right here. It has a really cool design to it, but most mouse pads on Temu are like stolen designs. They're all being printed on like a much cheaper mouse pad material, but with the same mouse pad designs as like the bigger name companies. This design right here is like a Strata liquid type thing. And I'm pretty sure either like the mouse Mousepad company or Gutsy Aiden had that design first. But the one I bought was only around like $9 and it was from like a unknown Chinese brand. But it does have that really cool design, which is why I actually picked it up. This mousepad is pretty big. It could fit your keyboard. And we still have like a little bit of mouse space for the mouse. It doesn't cover my entire desk, but it definitely is a still pretty big mousepad. So definitely enough mouse space for when you guys are gaming. Obviously, the quality of this mousepad is just like super average. There's really not much special about this mousepad. There's not like really good glide on it. It's just your typical mousepad with like a really cool design to it. And since I was building a cheap Temu gaming setup, I went ahead and just picked this thing up because why not? All right, so here's what the setup is looking like. And just from the looks of it, it doesn't even look that bad. Mostly because this keyboard is just giving such a large RGB glow. But since this setup does cost under like $500, it's honestly not that bad. Only thing I would have changed was the mousepad. This thing definitely feels pretty small now. But like other than that, this setup definitely looks really, really good. Now taking a look at the FPS of the Temu gaming PC, I did fully optimize it and it's getting a pretty solid 190 to like 210 FPS. So yeah, if you guys fully optimize this $350 Temu gaming PC from Temu, this thing definitely pushes a pretty solid FPS. Oh my God, bro, this mouse is actually having like crazy delay. I literally cannot edit with this thing. When I actually unboxed the mouse, it felt pretty light, but now that I connected the wire, this thing actually feels pretty. And actually like playing with this mouse, it definitely feels so much more heavy. Like yeah, this thing definitely has some weight to it. I thought this thing was light. Is this monitor even 180 Hertz? It kind of feels like it's a lower like refresh rate because this monitor doesn't even feel like it's too smooth. Okay, so I'd even set the monitor to 180 Hertz. I had to go into like the monitor settings, and the settings menu for this thing is actually like really confusing. There's a button behind the monitor, but if you press it, it literally does not do anything. So you kind of gotta like fiddle with it. It's like really annoying. And then in the settings, there's actually like something where you have to turn on the 180 Hertz, which was what I had to do, and I finally got it to 180 Hertz. Also, this keyboard's actuation point isn't like the fastest. It's actually pretty hard to edit just because I'm not used to it. I'm used to like really fast actuation points. So playing on a much slower one is kind of just messing me up. Also, why are we getting frame drops? I just realized that, what the heck? PC is getting frame drops around like 80 in creative. I don't know what just happened. Now taking a look at the FPS this PC can get in an actual game, I mean, it's still relatively pretty good. This thing does get around like 140, 120, but the only problem is there is like a ton of frame drops. Once you start moving and stuff, you guys can definitely see it's dropping down to like 110, even like 90 FPS. I mean, this entire setup is from Temu. I'm definitely not expecting much. Now that I actually played on this keyboard long enough, I can definitely say that this keyboard is pretty loud. Like when I was just doing a sound test on this keyboard before, oh God, there's a guy. There is a guy. There is a guy. 30, 60. Oh. Okay. Dead? It's not real. What is this bloom? What is this bloom? Oh my, oh my. I was about to lose. But as I was saying, as I was not saying, because someone wants to kill me. Okay, so as I was saying, this keyboard is definitely louder now that you're actually playing on it. When I was doing like the sound test for this, it sounded pretty quiet, but now that I'm actually playing on this thing long enough, it is definitely pretty loud. 60? This guy's won. Oh, all right, I'm not dying again. Like, I don't care. Dead, perfect. That's the kid who killed me. That is the kid who killed me. Ease. Oh my. He's won. He's won. Oh my, I won that. Oh my God. Yeah, the keyboard is definitely louder than I expected now. This keyboard does have the red switches. I thought like the red switches are like much more quiet. I think this keyboard is just like mainly focused on the aesthetics. It has really nice RGB, but that's literally about it. Like the keyboard itself is not too fast. I mean, 20. Bro, this guy's won. There's no way. There's no way. There's no way. Oh my God, bro. Oh my God. This guy was just like running. He's gonna drop down. You're not taking that. Full box. 30. I miss. Track. He's one. There we go. There we go. Oh my God. I think this monitor is pretty good other than the fact that the build is just like super, super cheap. Every other aspect about this thing is like very good actually. 22. That guy's one. Oh my. Dead. I think there's something about this monitor and its like colors and stuff. I literally cannot hit a shot. 42. There we go, free kill. I'll take it. Dead. Please back up. Please back up. Please, oh. There's no way. There's no way. I actually want to practice with this setup. I really want to see how fast this keyboard is. I feel like the keyboard and mouse definitely have like some delays to it. Either that or I'm just not used to it. Let me actually like practice in like piece control. Yeah, this thing definitely feels slower. Like definitely feels slower. 45. Drop down. Edit. Oh. Okay. This mouse is definitely very heavy. It's making me play like super slow. I did have to up my sensitivity just because the mouse is like super heavy, like I said. All right, this guy's not taking anything. Ready? He's not taking that. He's not taking that. Try again. 74. Oh, you're dead. Let's go, bro. GG. Honestly, this setup is pretty decent just because it's from Temu. Definitely not the fastest setup, but definitely gets you by. It is less than $500, so very, very good. Let's go, bro. GG's.